Hey guys, I am gameadvisor, and in this video we'll be going over our top 5 favorite colony sim survival games. So let's jump right into it. Now this list is in no particular order, but the first game we're going to be starting with is called Surviving Mars. Surviving Mars is, to put it simply, a colony sim based in a sci-fi world with an Elon Musk type of feel to it. Now the reason I say Elon Musk is because everything in the game for some reason just reminds me of his companies, whether it be SpaceX or Tesla. There are many examples of this in the game, such as reusable rockets, which are really only done by SpaceX at this point in time, and the whole colonizing Mars concept all seems to fit with the concept of what Elon Musk is trying to do. Either way, you'll find yourself starting out on a very small portion of Mars with nothing but a few robots in order to set things up, kinda like Elon Musk's vision for it. But once you get further into the game, you'll need to create a habitable environment for humans to survive as well. And yes, humans are a lot more difficult to keep alive on Mars than your little robot friends are. Instead of simply needing some electricity once in a while, they will need oxygen, the habitable environments, food, and so much more. As you expand your colonization of Mars, you'll start to encounter different weather events such as meteors, which will attempt to come crashing into the planet. Most of these weather events, though, and other situations can be resolved via some other in-game mechanic, such as setting up a rocket launcher in order to shoot down incoming meteorites. The idea of surviving Mars is based within reality, but not so much that it takes away from the fantasy of running a colony on Mars in a sci-fi world. Personally, I'll always find it funny that in this game, you send people to Mars that become alcoholics in some cases and just start to cause issues for you. Why they were chosen for this mission, I'll never know, but hey, it's something interesting to create more craziness going on in this colony you're trying to build on Mars. Up next on our list is going to be Oxygen Not Included. Oxygen Not Included is a game where you will find yourself trapped inside a futuristic planet fighting to keep yourself alive. And as the title suggests, one of the biggest things you'll need to pay attention to is oxygen, as they didn't lie when they said oxygen is not included. For those of you who don't happen to already know this game was created by the same developers who made Don't Starve Together. So if you enjoyed that game, there is a fair chance you will get the same sense of charm from playing this one. Oxygen Not Included has a heavy focus on the individuality of its survivors, or as they're called in this game, duplicants. This takes form in a number of different ways, but mostly takes place in the form of their skill levels. For an example, a good chef may be able to produce more food for your colony should he be given that specific job. However, each of your duplicants will also come with some sort of negative or positive traits, such as additional mining skill or the fact that they might consume more oxygen than the average duplicant. The idea is that your ultimate goal is to create a self-sustaining civilization where each and every one of your duplicants are happy and satisfied with the home you have built them. Do keep in mind there are plenty of DLCs to add more content to this game if you do find yourself really enjoying it. After that is Farthest Frontier. Farthest Frontier is a very new colony sim that focuses on you creating a medieval civilization. The main thing that makes Farthest Frontier such a good game, though, is the fact that it has some of the most in-depth survival mechanics available today. It takes everything from crop rotations to travel time into account when you manage your city. The game is so complex, in fact, that many players have quit simply due to the difficulty of learning how each and every one of the mechanics work. With that being said though, if you are a colony sim or survival game colony sim enthusiast, I am almost certain that you will be able to figure out most of the game's mechanics in a fair amount of time. My favorite part about the game though has to be the constant problem creation and solving. What I mean by this is that the game is constantly creating problems for you to solve, and in order to solve a problem, you will likely be creating another problem in its place, which will then need its own solving. This creates a gameplay loop that always seems to keep you saying, okay, let me just fix this one thing and then I'll save and go to bed. But there is always another problem that needs attention. Alrighty, we are almost there with our second to last game, and this game is going to be Frostpunk. Frostpunk is a survival colony sim where you will have to fight through the bitter cold in order to survive each and every day. While Frostpunk is a great game and known very well for many different reasons within the survival colony sim community, I would argue it's most well known for its brutal decision-making mechanics. Now, when we say brutal, we mean things that are necessary but cause brutal things to happen that may make you question your own morality. For an example, you may be given the choice to send a small child into a furnace, or let it explode and everyone in your city will die. Maybe instead, you'll have to force your people to work in brutal conditions until they die in order to keep the rest of your city warm. Then you have to make another decision as to whether or not you will use their bodies to then fertilize your crops so that you can keep everybody fed. Brutal decision making for the greater good is one of the core draws that Frostpunk has, and it constantly makes you think about things you never thought you would have to think about. Aside from the brutal decision making though, there are plenty of other awesome things in Frostpunk, such as its incredibly cool concept of an apocalyptic world where you have to keep the colony's heater running at all times or death will become imminent. There's also the extremely well executed art style that helps to pull you into that gritty world and story that the game is trying to portray. At the end of the day, Frostpunk is a great game, and if you are looking for a brutal colony survival sim, then this is definitely one you should consider checking out. Now, before we move on to our last game, I wanted to give you guys an honorable mention, and that's going to be the game They Are Billions. The reason They Are Billions is an honorable mention instead of a regular game on this list is simply because it's usually considered more of an RTS survival game than it is a colony sim survival game. The whole game revolves around you trying to survive literally billions of zombies attacking your city and you just trying to hold out as long as possible. There's a lot more to the game and it is really cool, so I highly recommend you check it out if that sounds interesting to you. And we do again also have a video in the description down below that will let you check it out more in depth where we give a full review on the game. Otherwise, let's move on to our very last game today, which is going to be RimWorld. RimWorld is the colony survival sim with all of the bells and whistles that you could ever ask for. I would say some people don't like the graphical art style that much, but overall RimWorld provides you just about every single mechanic that a colony sim enthusiast would want to have. Just to give you an idea, it has psychological factors, ecology, combat in both the prehistoric era and modern styles, as well as futuristic, climate effects, multiple biomes, diplomacy options, relationships between survivors, decorations, medicinal systems, trading, and much, much more. RimWorld even has an ultimate goal for you to try and achieve, which is something that many colony sims just seem to lack these days. There are also pretty in-depth strategy elements in most of the mechanics, but especially when it comes to dealing with things like combat. You could decide to build a maze in order to trap your enemies inside and then burn them alive, while other times you may try to just take them on head on with brute force and melee attacks. There is even a whole world map where you can send out workers to trade and explore new areas for rewards. RimWorld is a beast of a colony sim game, and if I'm being honest with you, there is a reason why it is the most popular game on this list. If you haven't by chance played RimWorld yet, then we highly recommend that you give it a try. And if you're on the fence at all, like I said before, you can always check out all of these videos down in the description below where we have made a full review on each and every one of these games. With that being said, I want to give a big shout out to Jim Phillips, Jonathan S., and Caustic FPV for being Platinum and Above supporters. If you guys would also like to become a supporter of our channel, you can do so by clicking the join button just below this video, and you can do it for less than the price of a cheeseburger these days. Either way though, just thank you for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, maybe consider subscribing, but if not, that's okay too. I'm just glad you're here to watch. Either way, I'm Game Advisor, thank you once again, and I'll see you next time.